Hi there, this is Kritesh and welcome to TradeBrain's YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss what is the greater fool theory and how to avoid being a greater fool. First of all, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. We publish new interesting investing videos every week. The greater fool theory states that it is possible to make profits by purchasing assets which may be overpriced and selling it to another person, a bigger or greater fool who is willing to pay even a higher price for that asset. The greater fool theory supports the principle that there will always be a greater fool in the market who will be ready to pay a higher price based on some unjustified valuation for an already overpriced asset. The new estimate might be based on a higher irrational multiple for that asset. Here the investors purchase the asset without any regard to the fundamental quality or the underlying principle, but only with irrational beliefs and expectations. They hope to sell it off at a higher price to another investor who might be hoping to do the same with someone else in future. The price of the assets is determined by what the buyers are willing to pay, ignoring the true worth of the asset. Overall, here the investors are happy to pay too much for an asset just because they believe that there is a greater fool who will be willing to pay more in future. Overall, here the investors are happy to pay too much for an asset just because they believe that a greater fool will be willing to pay more in future. Now the big question here is where this theory ends. The greater fool theory ideally starts fueling and causing the stock market bubble. Unfortunately, later this always ends up with a speculative bubble burst and eventually leading to a rapid depreciation in the price due to the sell-off. Nonetheless, there will be always someone who will be stuck with the investment when the speculative bubble finally bursts. This is because when the end approaches, people begin to realize that the price attached to the investment is just unrealistically high, and hence they might not be willing to pay a greater price for that asset. However, the ones who have already purchased that asset at a high price might be stuck with it. The key point here is to make sure that the greater fool isn't you. The greater fool theory can help you explain how speculative bubbles are formed in different assets. During the Dotcom bubble, the prices of every IT companies were highly inflated. The theory supported buying of overvalued stock in the hot market, that is IT sector, with an expectation that a greater fool will come along and buy it from you at a higher rate. At that time, instead of focusing and trying to find the intrinsic value of the companies, people followed the herd mentality to invest in any and all IT companies. They were purchasing the stock and simply trying to find a greater fool whom they can sell the stock at a higher price. However, the end of the dot-com bubble was not so happy, and many investors who planned to sell their overvalued stocks later turned out themselves to be the greater fool. How to avoid being a greater fool? It's quite simple to avoid being a greater fool, and here's how you can do it. Before making your investment in any asset, do your own study and research. Do not blindly follow the herd, paying higher and higher price without any reason. Many people invest in stocks just because the stock price is going higher and they do not want to miss out. Although they know that the price of a stock cannot be stable at that inflated price, still they are willing to enter the stock with an expectation to exit soon, making good profits. If you want to avoid being a greater fool, avoid purchasing a stock just because its price is going higher and higher. Control your greed to make money by irrationally buying overvalued stocks just with an intuition that you can sell it off later at even a higher price. That's all. Stay away from being a greater fool, and I hope this video is useful to you. If you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting investing videos. This is Kritesh signing off.